a couple of announcements. All right, gotta turn critique hour mode on. The Halloween Community Creature Design Challenge, Creepy Elementals. It's not, it's like, so this person here did evolutions, and they kind of drew Ghastly, I think, or something. That is so fucking cute. Like that, I'm just about to freaking die. Because this is just freaking gorgeous. I love this. It's so simple. It's so Miyazaki. It's just so Yamada's, you know? It's like, it's perfect. But remember, you guys, you are supposed to render them. So you are supposed to try to push the texture to be realistic. So if you were to choose this and try to edit it so it doesn't look exactly like the Pokemon, but try to render it so that the background is dark enough to reveal the glow in the fire. I love it. I really, really love this one. But remember, you don't have to design it like Pokemon and that they evolve. But that's really cool that you thought you could, you know, apply that as well. That's really cool that you wanted to do that. Then I guess if you guys want to do it, you can. So, you know, if you want more to render, that's cool. But you're supposed to just choose one to really push the render for it. So there's that. I like this one, but it's just like a pumpkin. It's just like a possessed pumpkin. It's not that it's a cute, creepy creature made out of the Halloween element. So if I were to do the pumpkin, if it was me, I would be pieced up pumpkins that are kind of, it's like pieces of pumpkins that has been smashed. So you have like a chunk here, a chunk here, a chunk here. You got the little stem at the top, and then you can see the other pieces in the back, and then maybe there's one collective glowy inside, or some spirit on the inside. That way it's something made out of the pumpkin, not necessarily a pumpkin that was possessed, because you're just drawing a jack-o'-lantern at this point. This is really cool, but I can't seem to figure out what it's made of. Is it like blackness? Is it the night? That's really cool too. But try to involve some stars, maybe a moon, so it feels like it's the creature's made out of nighttime, which is a really cool concept. Remember, you guys, anything goes as long as it stays connected to the general atmosphere of spooky and creature-esque. All right. Another announcement is the holiday challenge. So no fighting Santas this year because I have a lung problem right now, I guess, and I can't laugh and give myself an asthma attack every time. But if you guys want to take a look at last year's holiday challenge, it was really, really fun. It was about 2 wizarding Santas just dueling it out. I'm not gonna laugh this time because it's not funny anymore. So but if you guys want to take a look at previous challenges and you guys are interested, there is a playlist available. I think I didn't post it for this one, but there is a playlist available on my channel. It's just called Community Challenge Playlist. Take a look at it. Take a look at the different challenges we've had over the years. They're so wonderful. They're so inspirational too. Just looking at one clip from one of them inspires me so much to just sit down on my tablet and just sketch any weird little idea. And that's the beauty of it, is that the prompts are just words, and then the students reply with these challenge submissions that are full-fledged, fully fleshed illustrations. And it's like, how did this just come out of a word? And it's amazing seeing the variety that people with their imagination can summon out of just a simple prompt. And it'll inspire you for when you sit down and just feel like sketching and don't have any ideas. You can just put 2 words beside each other and that's a prompt, and it'll just inspire and sprout so much cool idea. So then I have the other, I'm not sure if I want to start announcing for the sale, but if the Portrait Studio price, if the current Portrait Studio price is too high for you, when did the sale turn? Oh yeah, okay, I think I did this. So if the current Portrait Studio, is this the current price of them? Yeah, it is. If the current, I'm just had a brain fart. If the current Portrait Studio price is too high, I'm just looking at the chat. Then we have, yes, because the sale ended a bit ago. Okay. So if it'll be on sale soon. I can't say that one more time. Around November 1st or mid-November, meaning November 15th. So sometime around that time, you guys will see the price drop again. And if you guys want to save up your money for then, if the current price is affordable, that's always up to you. But around November 15th or November 1st, between that time period, The price will drop again for the holidays for anyone who wants to have it at a cheaper price. And I think that's it for announcements. If you want to support on Patreon, you can do so. And if you don't know how to get your work critiqued, go to Istebrak.com and click on the Reddit icon to join. If you don't know how to get stuff in, you know, if you don't know how to see your stuff on my videos. All right, so I have trouble with creativity sometimes. I think I'm adopted and that my biological parents are robots. Well, you have to start inspiring yourself. You have to start exposing yourself to the world of creativity, of world building. So watching someone talk about a character just verbally might inspire you, might open up that part of your brain. And it's not a locked door. Creativity is not a locked door. It may be a closed door, but it's not locked or sealed or plastered over. It's a very accessible area in your brain that you, just like any muscle, just have to practice using. So try to do that. Try to surround yourself with creatives. Try to watch stuff. There's watching stuff, and then there's just talking to someone who's a creative. So be part of like a Discord or some where people are creating things. Watch someone randomly design. There's so many art YouTube channels. Just search up, you know, freestyle, freehand sketching. Just see what someone makes out of something. And then one really cool trick that I can give you, Giacom, is to just scribble some things on a paper and see what comes up. So literally just scribbling lines, and seeing if there's images that summon up in between the lines, and that's a really cool way to get started on a sketch. But yeah, try to join challenges, stuff like that. It's a muscle that needs to be used, and it's not a locked door. Creativity is not a locked door. Right there. All right, so let's get started on this critique. This piece, I want to take a look at it for a lot of reasons, mostly because it's nice, but it's well rendered too. I think you had a really, really nice control over the light environment. I think you did well with the characters and the gesture, the perspective. I think you did a good job, but I think you also I think you can push it a little bit further. So one thing that's bothering me is the placement of the light. So if I was a filmmaker and there's this romantic scene in between two characters, and these two characters have been away from each other, and then they finally meet up, and then, you know, they're finally together after a great deal of awkwardness. I'm looking it up right now. This is typically the go-to. All right, the sun is behind the characters. It's incredibly romantic. I love this movie so much. She's like one of my favorite characters from a novel. So when we have this kind of sunlight, it kind of adds a sense of divinity to their love. And I'm not trying to make everyone, you know, Darcy and Elizabeth, right? Oh my, yes, Lizzie. I just don't say Elizabeth. I call her Lizzie. I don't know why saying Elizabeth freaked me out. But yes, we have this really, really nicely placed light that isn't so bright that we can't see their faces, so it's not a complete silhouette. Because this should be pure black, you know, it should be like a complete black thumbnail almost cutout. But we're seeing some of the characters, so we can pull something like that off while still having that cool, glowy, blooming, cinematic, kind of like a staging. So it's like a final moment after the great fight, the protagonist kisses the girl, blah, blah, blah. But it's nice when we add a sense of cinematic cue to it and go for that kind of bloom style. But you don't have to. I mean, it just depends on the kind of story this is. If it's not cheesy, I mean, every great story has cheesy love. But if it's cheesy love is not, if you feel like this is cheesy, I don't think it's cheesy, but if you feel like it's cheesy, you can opt out. So I am sorry about how sick I sound. I know it's just intolerable right now. Okay, so you can see you can do something like that, and you still have a lot of love, you know, a lot of that staring, but you don't really have just a blank shadow behind the characters that doesn't really make sense to them. So I'm at like 15% tolerance, that should help. Basically, the sun wants to be a part of their relationship. my god, you guys, let's go to dinner together. Alright, shut up, Sarah. And then I'm gonna select that. Okay, so this means that the sun bloom is going to be a little bit bigger than just around their faces. And that should help a lot. Okay. Does not select this. So what I want to do as well is kind of just bring in a let me see if 30 could do it. Bring in like a gradient as well, because the sun seems to be below this platform, whatever it is. There seems to be like a platform here. And I want the sun to only be at the bottom. And then I will bring in that bloom as well, so the glow. Okay, and then I'm going to blur, filter, blur. And that's why I didn't use all the white, because I was going to just deselect. So I was just going to bring in this soft brush. And I top everything off with a very, very carefully applied dodge tool. Okay, and that's just the light in between them. There's a lot of other issues in here. So next thing I do is darken the sun along the horizon so that it makes sense to the sun being behind them and only behind them. And I will probably adjust some more, maybe even adding more atmospheric perspective back here along with sunlight. Oopsie. Because for it to look far away, you really do have to haze that stuff in the back. Like, all I did was just, I'll do it again. I just selected the background value and then just brushed it over the object that is in the background. Logical, huh? Really, really unusually logical. You just select the background color and throw it over the objects that are in the background so that they feel like they belong back there. And you can see how it feels a little bit not bright, so I'm going to also add some brightness behind him. Don't worry, because I go back and I delete what needs to be deleted. Let me see if I can pull it off with a lasso. Very nice. Oops. Select members. Just trying to make sure that these objects feel like they're in the distance. Okay, so you see how it feels like it's back there? And then this pillar is not in the distance, so it should not share the same values. And with these big illustration critiques, you know, you just have to take it one at a time, one fundamental at a time, and things will just start to kind of fall into place. Okay. So, I'm not sure if I undid, probably did. Undo the shadow. Yeah, I did. All right. So then, along with the fact that the sun is behind them, there's going to be a lot of rim light. Rim light isn't like a scientific phenomenon or something like that. Oh, Photoshop crash. Rim light is like a, please don't fucking do this to me. Rim light is just the camera angle in regards to like where the silhouette is. So the silhouette, I think it crashed. No. Fuck my life. Okay, so I'm just gonna save it because I didn't do that many. Okay, so in relation to where the silhouette is, we have the camera, and then if we had moved the camera, we'd see a one big bright spot, but because we rotated the camera, we see the end task. Okay. Photoshop. Every time I use lasso or something like that. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that it's not a, it's not some kind of subsurface scattering, or it's not equivalent to subsurface scattering, or the way we use subsurface scattering when we're talking about value changes based off material. It's not material based, it's just the camera angle. So if we had looked at the characters from the other side, it's not some kind of subtexture or submaterial phenomenon the way that we see light pass through an object. It's not a phenomenon. That subsurface scattering isn't a phenomenon, but it seems like one because it's object or material based or material reliant. So what we want to do is just remember that it's just based off camera angle, and that's just to remind students that you can't have a silhouette with hair and not have rim light, because there's the subsurface scattering that may cause it, and there's also the fact that we're just seeing the object from a different angle. Had we moved the camera, we would have seen the light side. This is just the dark side of, we're in the shadow side. We're under the shadow. We're under the eclipse. All right? And most of this particular scene, so it's not always hair that's in rim light. Sometimes it's a shoulder. Sometimes it's a piece of cloth. So this right here, I'm not sure if this is skin. Yeah, this is. He's not wearing a shirt, so this is skin. So it's not really all that subsurface scattering. Subsurface scattering is what you catch when there should be a core shadow in place. A core shadow, for some reason, we have a light patch. That's subsurface shining in and out. In and out. Look, it goes into the skin and then it shines out. That's the order. And this is rim light. So you don't just have floating rim light hanging out around an object, is what I mean. A lot of students ask me the question, where do I put rim light? What do you mean? Where do you put rim light? Where's the camera in relation to the silhouette is what you should be asking. Rim light is whatever's still visible or catching some light, or if you've moved the angle of the camera. It's not always subsurface. And that's what I want you guys to remember. It's not always subsurface scattering. Sometimes it's just you slightly tipped the body off the silhouette, and you get that rim light. Okay, so that's something you were missing. In the case of hair, it definitely is a combination of subsurface scattering and rim light. There's the side of the hair that's bright, that's catching all the light, and then there's the fact that some of that hair, each strand itself is a translucent, especially if it's blonde hair. So this guy's hair here would actually just reveal the shape of his head. So it's each strand as well as the bright side, and then as well as the hairs in between the spaces of the strands. So it's a lot of conditions for why it happens. This right now, what I'm doing right now, that's not rim light, that's the subsurface scattering. Do you guys get the difference? Can anyone explain the difference for me real quick? So I'm going to just really force that. I know, it's purple because we're on the dark side. That's okay, because I'm just going to color correct it back to yellow or orange. And then there's a blur, and then we'll be done. So we'll select this, go before, dodge, paste it, and then delete what I need. And And then he also gets the rim light itself, and the rim light and subsurface both use the light source situation. So the light color itself, you just drop tool that. Rim light is the light hitting the object and bouncing off, right? And it looks like it's on the rim just because we tilted the camera and only the rim is left with light on it. All right, had we tilted the camera the other way, it would be half, and the light would be here. Subsurface scattering is a light that has penetrated the surface of the object and is now inside of it, bouncing back out. Yeah. Exactly. Perfect, Skyroar. Goes through and inside the object. Rim light is a subsurface scattering that gets smushed together. Hi, Ben. So then now I'm going to just complete the rest, because at this point, this is the platform, this is the light shining through, and we've got a shadow, and we've got these two dudes standing here, and then there's some way in the shadow, and at some point they exited the shadow and now have all this rim light on them. So at one point or another, I'm trying to find a quick way to do it without having to paint around the hair, but I have to, I guess. But at one point, we have to start cutting off all of the light so that we get that line where the shadow started, which is a really, really cool way to sneak in a cast shadow. Cast shadow is a wonderful way to accessorize your painting. And just look at what's happening. We're creating a second frame. So be careful with that F word. Framing your work with rim light is the cheapest noob move you could do to bring in cool effects to your drawing. Do you want to know why I say that? Because I fucking did it. Every fucking drawing I did, I always had rim light, and then another second shadow light, and then another rim light, and it was just so stupid. Because I thought it was going to save my painting. What saved my paintings in the end was core shadows, but I learned that a little too late. Okay, so we want to be careful. The best rim light is thin line. Write that back to me. So the thinner the line, really the more classy, the more professional it'll look. Having thicker rim line is just showing that you're having way too much fun with that. Remember, even the face gets some, so we have the edges of her face. And people have mustaches. And then the chin has more hair on it than the lip, so the lip gets less. And there's like a little bit of patch of light right under the chin. That's all going to get erased away to a thin line. And then there is the subsurface scattering on the noses. So that's a bit tricky, but really what I just do is I just try to find a kind of a nice pink color and just throw a really, really delicate, soft brush. Move over the noses, and that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna backtrack to before I did that and make those lines a little bit thinner. In order to work zoomed out, I have to work with a larger brush, and that's why I use the eraser, so that I'm not tricking myself into zooming in. So I just make those thinner, and those get a little bit of bloom as well. Staying zoomed out. And for those who complain that I critique zoomed out too much, good, because if it's bothering you, it means you're learning how to do it. And I'm gonna, actually I don't need to erase those, but I need to blur them. And that's another step you need to take with your rim light, is you need to blur it. Again, it looks very, very classy when you do that. And then finally, I'll just bring in the dodge tool just at the end. And keep it sporadic. It doesn't have to be a full line of like rim light all the way around. It can be like cut off in some areas. You know, that makes it feel a little bit more specific to the texture we're talking about, which is hair, which is sporadic as well. So it shouldn't have this consistent, perfect peach fuzz over it, because hair is not perfect and consistent in any way. It's very, very random. It's very crazy. All right, and then I'm gonna just smudge this real quick. So these are little details. This is me talking about small areas of a very big problem in a painting. So remember that this painting is still not off the hook. There's still a staging problem. There's still a lighting problem. And so we've got her shirt, which needs, I'm going to track where her arm is, which needs some transparency to it. You cannot have a silhouette without considering all this stuff. But once I'm done with this little detail rim light lesson, I am going to go and start just making big changes, just overhaul changes everywhere. I am so sorry for how my voice sounds. It sounds like I'm teaching from bed. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just need to use my alarm to wake up right now. God damn. I'm so freaking sick. Are you kidding me? I sound like I don't want to say it because I'm trying to avoid saying it. I sound like I'm smoking pot from bed. Excuse me. I sound like I'm high in bed. I'm just not sure which kid. I mean, it's not made for kids. I specifically make my videos with that setting on now. I just sound high is what I'm trying to say. I'm not. I'm just really sick and I'm on a lot of medicine. So probably I'm high. Alright, so I'm not sure where this line came from. Oh, it's just Photoshop. Alright, again, I use this light, the very light itself, to create this translucency, because the very light itself went through the shirt. There's no reason why you guys shouldn't use the exact light itself. All right, but look at this. Pay attention. So actually there should be some extra bounce light here now that I'm out this far. Just gonna grab that. Okay, so the very light itself is shining through these objects. That's why I'm using it. And then I think this should also get something, because I'm going to erase now. I'm going to erase the rim of that shadow I talked about earlier. What shadow did you talk about? It was the one where it's the platform, right? So they're over here. The characters are over here. The light is over here. And it's shining upward, right? It's a sunrise, so it's shining up. Meaning that there's a point where the characters are standing. This is the edge. The shadow cuts through them. This is all light, this is all shadow. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be choosing the point where the shadow starts and just erasing under it. This means the hair should have a bit more indication that it's drowned in that light. And you can see how all this light talk, rim light, subsurface, it's all helping the romantic scene. So it's all like cinematic, and that's why lighting is such a big part of storytelling in cinema. When you guys watch movies, do you notice the lighting in each scene as it happens? Right, so it's storytelling. So one place I really caught that was when Voldemort is in I think it's in the Goblet of Fire. Yes, it is. When he's finally seen, and then the Minister of Magic is like, he's back. So you can see how it's almost fluorescent light when they finally see Voldemort. It's like they just turned on the light in the Ministry, but while they were fighting, the light was off. So they used that light as if to expose him. He was caught red-handed. He was finally seen. He was finally visible. That's a beautiful way cinema uses lighting to tell stories. It's like suddenly all the light was, it was dim and dramatic when they were fighting that big ass fight. But then it became super, super exposed and almost silly when Voldemort was standing just right there in front of the Minister and he says that funny line, "Oh, he's back." The whole time he's denying it. But suddenly he just, you know, croaks, and then he's just like, he's back. And there's like a fluorescent light around Voldemort in that scene. So you use lighting to tell stories, and you can't really do a good job without it. So I'm going to choose, since we see the light here, I'm going to just choose that area. to start deleting. I must say I really love the expression of the girl character. Yeah, the more I learn about light, the more I do it. Good. Very dark or overly glamorous, like in a commercial. Sometimes I feel like the difference between specular and subsurface get kind of blurry because the light bounces, diffuses so much between the hair fibers. Fan movie frames are great references sometimes. Yes, they are, absolutely. It's honestly kind of bad nowadays, at least in the big blockbuster stuff. Yeah, it is, definitely, but when we look at movies like, I mean, Blade Runner was a little bit over the top. Blade Runner was a bad story with really, really good delivery. It was just a badly told story. I'm sorry if you disagree. I really didn't enjoy Blade Runner. It was very predictable. But the art is unbelievable, though. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do before deleting, actually, is I'm just going to get rid of her arm. If I was a movie director, and this was this amazing scene, and the two lovers finally admit their love for each other, I'm not going to let her big, chunky sausage arm stand in the way of this really, really almost tango or flamenco kind of like pose in their dance. This is just like bad dance if the arm is all the way up hiding his face. She could have held his face. She could have put her hand over his shoulder. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. Good job with the warm ambient light, though. I really like it. Okay, and so we could have put her hand right here, her paw. Okay. And I think that would have looked a little bit better. Oh my god, my voice. Okay. So this spider claw placeholder is all I can do right now. And I'm just gonna smudge this out. And just drop the values here, obviously, because it's not in core shadow. Okay, perfect. Blend that out. And then, now that that part is released, I can bring in some light there. Okay, and then I will finally delete. So there's different spots you can choose to delete the, I think the rim light for the most part is here. So you can delete like this. You can delete all the way up here. You really have to choose a point where that will actually make a difference. So I think I'm gonna backtrack all the way. So the arm is nice. I like it. It's just not doing a lot for the gesture. So it seems like her hand, it seems like the arm had to dislocate to get around his neck. It feels like the elbow would actually be here and the hand would be up here had she lifted her arm. It feels, because let's track it down. We've got the torso. So this is the edge of her torso. So this would be the edge right here. And we've got the elbow over here. So we've got this shoulder. And then the whole arm, the whole length of the arm had to travel forward and around his neck. So this may look average to you, but the elbow is right here. So from a bird's eye view, this is her, this is him, this is her shoulder. This would be her torso right here, and this would be his shoulder. Her shoulder had to travel over it forward and this way so that we see the elbow here. And then go down and onto his back. Do you see the problem? That's long ass arm. Her elbow would have to be right here, and then her hand is right there, or her hand, or her elbow was right here, and her hand was up here. All right? So she's actually just doing, and that's it. And that's fine. That's acceptable. Look up references though. Make sure that you know, she's Elastigirl. Make sure that you know what move it is, the dance move it is that you're doing, so that you know exactly what to do with it. Okay, and then again, that cast shadow. I just want to find a good spot in the history to do it. So we're gonna go pretty far. And then maybe just choosing a spot like that. That means the transparency of the shirt as well, don't forget. Does not mean this though. So see what I mean? There's a point where it cuts off. And the point that does show, you can really go for that glow. Just have to make sure it's the right degree going up. For me, I'd love to like cut it off. Oops. I'd love to cut it off like somewhere, yeah, around here. Just so that we have this like almost bust framing. Let's talk about the costume. So you have these really big, I'm not sure what that is, a collar? I'm not sure. But it's kind of disrupting the shape of the hair. It feels like you could just literally get rid of the collar and have a more like concrete female. See how we can see it better now, her shape and her neckline, which looks very feminine when we allow the neckline to be visible. That's why high collar, like for instance, let's look at fashion. So we have low collars for females, higher collars for men. So, you know, when we're talking about trench coats or something like that, or just coats, men have higher collars and like kind of thicker collars and thicker fabric. Can't even draw right now. And then females have low collars. They're still there. They're still in the shape of, but we get more neckline with a female and less neckline with a male. So the ear is actually pretty close. So that's just fashion's way of accentuating the features of a female beauty, which is just the neckline, that long neckline. You can have a full neckline and have the beautiful collar of the coat you're wearing, even the strong collars, just as long as you have that. So when you get rid of that and put a big nonsensical collar here, you're kind of destroying the Juliet read of her femininity, which is part of this romantic scene. Alright, so the sun is beneath them, and we've got all that subsurface. And from a distance, I'm going to just start really pushing some of the halo around them. Trying to be careful because I don't really have full access to the detail from this angle. Okay. Is the next class tomorrow? No, it's Tuesday. The next class is Thursday. Our class is equal critique hours? Sorry, not sure. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't get rid of the... Is this where you use history eraser? Background eraser tool. Never mind. History tool, right? History tool? Yeah, never mind. I'll just do it myself. I don't mess with these fancy tools, but sometimes I really do need one. I'm just like an old person with a tablet right now. With an iPad, I mean, sorry. Okay, and then you could, if you wanted to, just cancel that whole shadow and use it to bring out some of the characters' shapes where there is too much shadow down here, but be careful with that rim light. We're just using it on whatever is visible. And I'm decreasing the opacity of that rim light going down. To get all these answers, I just look at the navigator. Okay. Zooming out. And then I'm going to, best of my ability at least, try to lasso the entire sky area. You can see what I mean in a second, how the sky would actually benefit from a bit of a brighter color. That'll also help. So you can see before, it's a bit too dark. After, kind of helps out the values. And then there's the possibility that the light is actually above the platform, so we get really, really strong lighting on the surface, and that'll bring out their silhouettes. I'm just trying my best to lasso here, and then also reveal their shadows. And again, we just borrow the light color on low opacity, and we'll just throw it on the surface. Okay, so a little bit of rim light goes a long way, a little bit of subsurface goes a long way, but be very careful with it, be tasteful with it. Don't be, make sure you do it with class. You're not just trying to throw it everywhere just because it's a really fun effect that makes your drawings pop. Yes, it's very fun. A subsurface is very fun, rim light's fun, dodge tool is fun, but it's not fun when it eats up your painting. It's only fun in small quantities. Quantities. I can't talk. Alright, so before, and that's not even the full before of my life. Yeah, so I don't even need to go backward because I have the before. So before, quantities. So before, the light is kind of low. You're not really using it to the best of your ability, and it's not really helping the characters feel like this really grand cinematic moment. And then you can always follow up with a lot of bloom. And by a lot, I mean the right amount. I don't mean a lot noob level a lot. So the question was brought up, what does my horde like? How does my horde want to be called? A horde meaning you guys. Do you guys want to be called the noobs? Like, what's the League of Istebrak called? The noobs sounds like a really nice one. I like that one. Something about that one just makes a lot of sense. Okay. The noobs. You guys like that one? I really like that one. Noobrakians, the horde of Istebrak. There you go. The horde of Istebrak. Sounds like what I would name my thyroid or something. The guy's face almost disappeared as well. And that's okay. It's not really something that we feel like is a loss to the painting because it just makes us more curious about him. As for the faces, they're really, really, really basic. You could really go for some better, anatomy when it comes to the male face, at least, he kind of looks like he has a girl face. And if that's something you went for, that's your choice. But I'm going to just push the eye forward so that his cheekbones are in the way. I'm going to lower that septum dip because that's only for girls, really. Only girls have that inward septum and then the upturned nose. So that girls have these kinds of noses, the upturned lower upper lip, the internal lower lip. But then males are the opposite of that. So just do the opposite, which we do for females. So the stronger bone structure on the nose, not upturned, downturned, and the stronger septum. And then don't force the smile. Come on, it might not even be visible. It might just be the silhouette. And then a larger lower lip and a stronger jaw. The whole face is just like heck long, man. And a really, really strong bone structure on the nose. Just close up that septum dip at the start. He looked extremely feminine. If it was a girl, that's your choice. And then just keep where you were before. But you see how feminine he looks after, just with a couple changes. And she looks a little bit more feminine as well. If it is a girl, then it's going to read as a girl if you don't change these things. So you could shrink the head. So he's got that haircut, but it's not making his head read as bigger. And then there's just giving him stronger shoulders. And that little thingy that you got going on, this little pouch, makes it looks like he got a booty. So I recommend adding it, just making sure that you still have that triangular male silhouette. Again, if it's supposed to be androgynous, girl on girl, that's your choice. If you want it to read as a male. It doesn't have to be, you know, superhero body, Superman body, but at least different from where you were before and at least different from her body. And yeah, and then there's always the fact that you could have enlarged him so that some of her face is hidden behind the shoulder. So this is scale. This is a scale motion. This is not a let me see if I can. No, that's too low. This is a scale movement, meaning that's only a size change. And then you could have tilted his head down to her. Okay, so before, see how his head felt a little bit big? His butt looked big. He looked like a girl with another girl. And then after, it reads more as a male because of the size change. And you didn't even have to change the scale. Without the scale, he could just be a smaller guy. We just shrunk the hair a little bit and pushed in that butt thing and just pushed up the shoulders to make them a little bit more broad. Small changes, but they come from big fundamentals. And if you wanted to keep the scale, you could keep that too. Why is it making me save it? Yes. Okay. Save it as a Photoshop file, but who cares? Then we've got this piece, which is like a game loading screen. I wish that I had the PSD file to do this, but I'm gonna try to do it. Oh, sorry about that. Patel slipped out. I do that accent. I've been doing that accent since I was a kid. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to do it without it. I'm in a lot of Dayquil. It's just the Dayquil. Okay. So we've got the rest. So all of the changes for this piece are very particular. So I'm gonna select, converse, copy, paste, okay? And I'm gonna try to do that with this. They are specifically atmosphere changes. So what are some of the atmospheric changes you guys are catching here? There's almost zero atmosphere, right? There's no collective blue. There's no collective darken value. I gave away my change. So yes, I'm going to get a collective blue color that I feel like represents the underwater, you know, life. So I'm going to use I'm not going to use a specific real to life aquamarine color. I'm going to use a very basic blue because we're talking about a children's game. So blue should work for underwater, but I'm still going to use realistic conditions. Did you guys get that? Did you guys get what I just said? I use a basic crayon blue with real to life conditions, meaning color layer and darken layer. So color layer would be this. Color layer would be this, and the darken layer would come out of that same color and just go over here. So I'm going to do darken layer first. I always do them one after the other. And I lower the opacity because what that's done is it's darkened everything in the background as well. I should be manually erasing less of the background, more of the foreground. By the way, this fish doesn't count. This fish should also be lassoed out. Good luck doing that, Istebrak. Alright, bear with me. Because this fish is in the foreground. And right now, the fish is so part of the same saturation and contrast as the rest of the painting. We really don't see it. I can't tell, you know, what's near him, what's far away from him. So you have no depth, no atmosphere. And that's why it looks bad. It looks bad because it's too much color too soon. Yes, it's children's story, but the children's stories and animated shows can still have a level of realism to them and still look like children's stories. Just go on kids' Netflix and just watch all those funny little weird cringy shows for kids. The bad ones, not like the good one, like Tinkerbell or something. I love that one. But like, you know, just those badly made children's shows, they always have that, you know, at least some kind of realism, at least a core shadow. And sometimes they're badly made because they do this shit that you just did, which is absolutely no atmosphere. So anyway, we'll turn that on. See how now he looks like he's in the foreground? One correction fixed all your mistakes. One correction. So let's just backtrack and just take a look at what one fundamental can offer you. And that's just one. Before, everything, the yellow, all that crap was in the same level as the object in the foreground. After, we just darkened the background with a blue. One fundamental. And then now we have color layer. So we're going to balance all the colors in the background under the same light source, which is going to create the same color filter over top. And if you feel like you lost contrast, go ahead and fix it. But now it's all under the same management, which is with that darken layer applied, that's controlling all the values. Okay. So now that we have these two colors, I can backtrack. Oh, I don't even need to back. I can just save this layer. All right, and delete at one ray of light coming down through the water into the background, maybe to help the character breathe a little bit. So I'm going to just bring in like a little god ray here. And if I do delete, I have to not only delete at the blues, I have to bring in a white. So you can't just delete for those old nasty colors you were using. You have to bring in a new color to represent the light source. Right, and then I'll probably just break it up. Just give it like a little. And then because I messed it up, I'm going to go back. Bird? Oh yeah, I'm just gonna copy the whole thing. And then select and then I'll be able to delete finally. So yeah, so I have the worms coming through. Cool. And then I'm going to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and then just blur the life out of that. Just so we have that daytime popping in. And this is just for the background. This is just to help the background out. All right, so then I merge those two layers, and then I deleted that, which I should not have done. That's okay. I just want to fix this little thing right here. So I'll just use darken. And color. Because now the foreground is going to get a little bit darker. And I'm still not sure about the exact... Ooh, what happened here? Oh. Layer visibility. I guess I'll just, no, I'll just merge that down. And then merge that down. Okay, good. So now I'm going to just color correct that real quick, and then darken foreground objects. Choose a final color for the light source. If I want it to be blue, that's cool too, because the light passing through the water will also bluify it. I never had to erase away and keep the old values, by the way. I could have just kept it all blue. So color, and I think I will. I just like the value change so much. And then I want that sunshine to kind of come in and help out. And then just blurring some of this. And see this how it got on top of that? It doesn't matter. And when it comes to children's stuff, it does not need to have a core shadows on everything, or cast shadows, let's say, on everything. It can have really, really crappy production, but you kind of choose which fundamental you really want to entertain. You want to just push it forward. So I'm just showing where the spotlight stops on the surface, just where it hits. And there's going to be an extra little roundness that's illuminated. And that's just like, just get a white. Who cares what it is? And that's cool because it's landing right on the buttons. I'm just going to use blur tool. Alright, so filter, blur, basic rules of depth, nothing fancy. I'm really not doing anything tremendous. What's some shit that Trump says? Some of that dumb stuff, the words he uses is like really small vocabulary. Small vocabulary. Says the girl who's criticizing Trump. Bigly. Right. Okay, so now we're gonna take a look at the foreground. So, foreground, I'm just gonna decide that it's this object. So yeah, choose any one of these, use them all. I recommend you use them all the fundamentals, but choose one of them and just take a look at how they improve your drawing. No, it's my pic's work. Sorry if I'm not answering questions right now. So one thing I just realized when I looked over at the comment section, one thing I want to start doing is helping you guys stay together. So what you want to do at the beginning of class is get your links ready, because one of the biggest things why you improve or why your drawings suck, as I said before, is that you don't have a community, and a lot of people here are constantly asking about that. So so get your links ready, because at the end of class, what I want to start doing is posting links. Everyone's gallery, just post your link real quick, and the mods will approve it, because links aren't allowed by the mods. So you guys need the approval for the comment. So to really get you guys connected and help you guys help once and for all answer that community problem. Not only should you join the Reddit and critique each other and get to know each other and link up there, but start posting your links to each other as well. So we're darkening the foreground. So now it's dark. It's a little bit grim, right? That's okay because you can raise the saturation up and it will still feel kiddish, you know, still feel like a children's thing. And so now we have objects in the foreground. And now the background looks like it's in the background. Okay, so a little bit of depth goes a long way. Oh, my bad. No. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay. And then we're going to select inverse and lighten the background. So I'm going to push the background up a couple spots. And then these titles right here, the colors are just horrible. First of all, I'm going to fix the levels. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to darken them and saturate. So darken and saturate. And I'm going to try to change the color. I mean, does it have to be this weird color, this orange golden color? I mean, if it has to be. So let me bring this back down to 0, I guess, and just raise that up. It's just such an ugly color. It's so cheap looking. You have so many colors to pick from. Like, that's cute. Fish Quest and it's not in blue? Come on. So I'm gonna just use color mode to try to adjust that. I think the blue looks really cute, but we'll see. I think I like the blue, but it may not be, you know, enough color variety. Maybe a turquoise might be better. Ooh, yeah, that's nice, right? I like the turquoise. And then drop the values down. It might be a little bit too plain. You might want to bring in like a secondary color for the shadows. You know? Something like that. 50. Oh, I hate this color. Where it was before when we shifted the slider, it was the best one. It was the best version of the blue because I can't edit the blue this much. So that, yeah, that looks really pretty. It's kind of crappy because the slider can't seem to be able to figure out what the hell to do with the pixels. Yeah, so it's at the right level. I don't know. And then we've got the fish. So the fish is just gonna get like the same treatment. More contrast and darker values. And because it's in the foreground, we want it to read like it's in the foreground. I kind of want to do one more thing to the stuff in the foreground, which is a cool little trick. Again, you can pick and choose which fundamentals, because if I don't know why you wouldn't use all the fundamentals available to you for a children's thing, but sometimes some people hire you to make children's art and specifically ask for stuff that looks cartoony. They're not even artists. They're just asking you art-related things, these people, you know, who want to hire. They're not artists, but they make artist demands as if they understand, you know, the nuance of which fundamental to keep and which not to keep, as if it's their business. But they make these weird demands, like, oh, I want it, I don't like that. I've even heard that before when I was freelancing. I don't want that, like, I don't want that shadow here. What the fuck are you saying? You know, what the fuck do you know about what shadow to put where? You're not even an artist to begin with. But anyway, let's just pretend you are. This fundamental is important. This core shadow is important. But anyway, I digress. Sometimes they ask you not to, and that's why I'm giving you the options. So I'm darkening this even more, this stuff in the foreground, because you have this option here. Darken the foreground a little bit and then blur it. And then you can bring in that that reflection of the surface texture of the water. Oh, am I still a lasso or what's going on? Okay. And then turn that off and then put a layer underneath. Just any old layer should do. All right, so filter, blur, Gaussian blur. So this is another fundamental, which is blurring the foreground. I can see why it's not blurring because I have it selected. Selecting another thing. All right. So this foreground isn't directly in the foreground. It's not really, you know, like direct foreground in front of the camera, but a little bit of blur should go a long way. Because, of course not, because it's a locked layer, dumbass. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. All right, so we blurred a little bit of the foreground. And these two, like the controls or whatever this is, and that you really need to take your time deciding on those. And then this dude, you know, all you really have to do is just bring in a bright white to just unify his values, at least under a universal light source. You're kind of just using light gray, light green, light blue, dark green, dark blue. You need to use pure white to show that he's reflecting nearby sunlight and stuff like that. But I honestly think a little bit more contrast and some burn should help him kind of pop out a little bit more. Let me see what levels can do. So again, we did all this just for the sake of making it feel realistic while preserving your design. And I'm saturating the background just a little bit. And that light texture, that I'm not really sure like what it is, but you could just add it in. It's just like a repeated like light shining through the water. It's just like, I guess it's just the light through the waves. Just fuck around. It doesn't really have to be accurate. Excuse me, I'm so sorry about that. That looks horrible. But I hope it like works as a placeholder. Select and deselect. But you see what I'm saying? It kind of serves the purpose. And you can hand paint it. You can go find a texture online. It really isn't gonna make or break anything. And this is in the foreground. And then filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Blur your ass off. And I think the more you blur, the more realistic it looks, because it really is just blurred texture. I'm not sure if this worked, but you know what I'm talking about at least. Okay, and then you want to do the same thing in the ground back there. It's really just like making a grid. Just wherever the waves are touching each other. And then you choose the light source and you're just waving your brush around. Your lasso select. See how they just touch? And then throw that down. And then filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Make sure every blur is different for different levels. And then you forgot the bubbles, my dude. Come on, why? Why would you forget the bubbles? Bubbles are very easy. Bubbles are, you just get the elliptical marquee tool, shift to form the bubble, and make different sizes. Shift to form it so that you get a perfect sphere. Oh no, never mind. I guess in the new Photoshop, you don't have to shift to size perfect. Then you get soft brush, pure white, again, just pure white. Take it easy with your color choices. And then you put one simple layer of transparent value on top. And then where's the light source coming from? So it's coming from up there. So you shine one section. Just bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay? And then you can just put whatever the hell you want on the bubble on the inside. Sometimes you can do that and treat it like glass. Sometimes you can put a big extra circle. And then really the best kind of highlighter is just the square in the shape of. And then just whatever you want. But look up a reference just so you get a better, you know, a better image to use. A better idea, sorry, of the type of reflection you want to use in here. And usually there's one big one just like on the edge. I'm just basing it off what I remember. But bubbles are very, very easy. The point of making bubbles or painting glass is all about painting less, not more. Letting the background do most of the work. So I'm erasing the middle of the bubble. And then go into filter, if you can even see it. And then just kind of mess with the bubbles a little bit, just so they look a little fucked up. I guess I didn't mess with it enough. Because they're underwater bubbles, so they shouldn't be too perfect. And there you go. And then just copy paste the rest. Story of my life growing up and freelancing, copy paste the rest. Okay, and then you want to just select the rest and just show how some are kind of floating right out. And then inverse these, flip horizontal. Merge that down. Now you got a whole bar of it. All right, y'all. It ain't hard. Okay. Flatten, and then of course because it's in the background, you wanna just like sometimes in underwater you just have like random towers of bubbles flying up, and then you can choose to erase which ones you want to get rid of just to make it less of a repeated texture. Okay, so look at how we're enriching this painting. Very little effort. It's about being smart. It's about being wicked smart. You don't want to overwork your ass off for the 20 bucks they pay. I mean, they should not be working for 20 bucks, but for the 20 bucks they pay you. All right, and if it was me, I'd have kept every single one in the same, in different layers if that was me back then. And I'm just gonna like deliberately sharpen some of the reflection. Texture is not your enemy. Write that back to me. Texture should not be your enemy. The reflection of the water on these little pads should not be your enemy. You just learn the nature of the texture and you'll know what to do. It should not be this traumatizing experience trying to add value to your drawing and enriching your drawing with some color. I'm going to just add some blue in the background just because I don't like that peach color. I don't know what the hell that is. I guess that was your old colors. Sorry. And I'm going to choose like a purple that matches this environment for the little octopus. I'm going to do the same thing for this purple here. If you want it to be more pink, just shift, don't move the slider. I feel like we should have like some kind of shadow. Just so that it's responding to the light source in some way. Okay, and then I'm going to pick this earthy color and put it behind. Again, just so that it's creating a space behind this little bubble machine. And then maybe throw the shadow of this little fella under him. And again, you just want to blur it. If we can even get away with adding a shadow for him. I'm late. I'm already so delayed in today's class, but it's just fun. I like these sessions. Okay, so I hope Fish Quest was fun experience for you guys. I hope you guys learned something. So let's flatten the image. I really recommend you do something else with that title. It's really boring. And where you've placed the fish and where you place the buttons for play is also extremely boring. But that I'll leave that up to you to do whatever you want. Maybe a little bit of yellow can go a long way. So before, after. So we've unified the colors by using underwater blue. No duh. Why would you not? It's not even air anymore because air is thin and it's harder for a student to grasp that air has color in it. And you know, using the actual background color can be used on objects. It's water. It's so thick, so it's constantly carrying around these different particles, and they're reacting to the light source. Why would they not be unified? It looks like above water, underwater. You know, it doesn't look like it's underwater. So we've unified that. We've added some basic surface texture. The bubbles add this little nice subtexture to everything. Darkening the foreground and blurring it went a long way. I think you do need it because it really created this feeling like, ooh, I can go in here and swim around. Now it looks like Finding Nemo. All right, any questions at all? The universal light environment is an in-app purchase. That's so funny. You're so funny, Blendomatic. Blendomatic, are you in our Discord at all? All right, so is link sharing permitted here? Do you guys have your links ready? No, never have been. What the fuck? Message me. Oh, sorry guys, I swore. I have a question. Sure, Hassan, go ahead. I don't know where the settings are for my chat. To submit work for critique, go to reddit.com. Yeah. So do you guys have your no, not you, Kyle. Do you guys have your gallery links ready? Viewers, students, get your gallery links ready. Instagram, Facebook, whatever the fuck, and stay connected. So connect to each other. Connect. Click. All right. Can you message me on Instagram? Just say, hey, where can I massage you, Istebrak? Right over there, just like right on my back. Okay, I don't have a question. All right, so get your links ready and. What's wrong with giving me a massage? I just gave you guys 1 hour and a half class. I can't get a massage. I'm joking you. Get your links ready and go. So Instagrams, all of that. You can message me on Instagram, Blendomatic. That's okay. Just say it's hey, it's Blendomatic, so I know it's you. All right, post them. Control V, enter. Okay, so let's recap on today's changes. Oh my god, my voice, I sound like a man. Oh, wrong one. So we covered, oh my gosh, none of these are the right one. So we covered rim light, subsurface scattering, a little bit of gender talk. I love her new gesture, especially her expression. Oh, she's so cute. I love that. Do you guys see that? She's just like, you know, like all Disney-esque. I would really rework the male if he's supposed to be reading as this super duper strong guy. I would definitely rework him. And then Fifth Quest. I'm trying to find. My DA is much better with the quality. So will they post our links acceptable here? Like what am I waiting for? Pop out chat. Top chat. Show. So are you guys sending your links out? Is it not working? Because that's something I was worried about. But no one's posting. Can just one person post a link so that I can see if it's working? Just one person post your gallery. You guys should be jumping on this. You guys should be posting your gallery. Huh. So I guess they're not coming through. Manage moderators, participants, toggle timestamps. Couldn't get my link. You guys did too. Okay, so there's something up with the settings. Stream settings. Fuck, it must have been something that I turned off. Okay, so for next time I'll have it on. I'll just look out for it and allow links. I just want it to allow links only right now. I don't want it to allow links constantly because there's spam. Maybe I could, yeah. I'll probably just make a post on the Reddit, or one of my mods can make a post on the Reddit and I'll pin it. Where would we be able to post our galleries in the future? See, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Why isn't it? Because usually it lets me post links, right, guys? That's annoying. It usually lets me. I usually see links when I stream. That is annoying. Okay. No, other people post links and it used to let me decide, you know, to accept them. It used to let me mod them in. Participants. Manage moderators. Block links. If you select this option, new comments with hashtags and all the development. See, I don't even have block links turned on. I don't have that. Hide potentially inappropriate behavior. I just want to make sure this is allowed right now, just so that everybody here can share, link up. I guess I can't. It must be in the settings. Okay, discard. Alright, so I'll figure it out for you guys next time. But I hope you guys learned something in today's class. We covered a lot of stuff. Sorry I'm so sick and scatterbrained. I'm sure I'll get better as the weeks come. I'll see you guys on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Portrait Studio will be on sale within a month. The Halloween critique hour is next week, Thursday. And I think that's it for announcements. But yeah, and I will upload the holiday challenge somewhere around somewhere around Halloween or the 1st of November. Whatever it may be. It might be just a continuation of the cute creature challenge, just in the holiday themes. Would you guys like that? So yes, to submit your work for critique, go to istebrak.com and click on the Reddit icon here. That'll take you to our Reddit. Here's where I'll make the post for you guys to start sharing your links and linking up on Instagram and critiquing each other. I mean, this is a great hub for everything, finding each other's links and stuff and critiquing each other. But apart from that, if you guys want to stay connected, and then this is the store right here. If you want my brushes, my smudge brush, which I used a lot today, is available on my store. And the secret to my smudge brushes is just keep the strength low. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Keep the strength low. My voice went out. I'll see you guys on Thursday. And 5 p.m. Eastern. Okay. All right. I think I'm actually gonna go now. I'm so tired. All right. Bye, guys.